What's up, y'all? It's Masani, aka at Culture Unfiltered, and this is the Culture Unfiltered Roundtable, where we talk about music and moments in culture that are worth talking about. And today we are talking Renaissance. I have some lovely guests here with me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but also as you're introducing yourselves, let me know when you first tapped into the Beyonce brand.
Yes. I'll start. All right, perfect. Hi, everybody. I'm Lavelle, aka at The Lavelle Show, all around media personality, content creator. And wow, when did I really tap in with the queen bee, the icon? I would say from the jump. I feel like for me, my most vivid memory is honestly the Beyonce experience. And so I'll say ever since she started doing those live DVDs, I've been tapped in right with her.
Okay. I'm Rose God, DJ Rose God on all platforms. I've been a Beyonce fan since Writings on the Wall. That's like the earliest I can remember. Poster in my bedroom, Destiny's Child was it for me. So from the beginning, halfway.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Timi Sola. I work in production and casting. I'm also a TikTok content creator. And I've been an A1 Day One from like literally one of my earliest memories of watching music videos was watching Bills. And so, yeah, I've always been a Beyonce. I don't remember a time where I wasn't a Beyonce fan. So, yeah.
Okay, yes. And I feel the same way. Like I grew up with Beyonce from a small child to an adult. And I feel like, in the very beginning, she was in her girl group era, then breakout superstar era, then like super duper mainstream era. And now she's like, in my opinion, legend status, like in her
100%.
legendary era.
100%.
So with that being said, I do have my next question for you guys, actually. Involves some dialogue surrounding Beyonce that went viral on social media. So I just want to know how you guys feel when you hear takes like this on social media.
We got the clip rolling.
Ooh, right. Hold on, let me turn the volume on. Hold on.
We got the clip rolling.
Beyonce is overrated.
Yeah, she is. A lot of people are gonna hate that one.
Yep, but Beyonce is overrated. Yeah, she's
Wait.
good. She's Beyonce.
Really? Can I just say one thing? First off, that hurts my heart. Second off, you need to go home and you need to watch Beyonce's Netflix documentary. Have you watched it?
No.
It's about her Coachella performance. I think it'll change your mind on her being overrated.
Okay. All right. But listen, Beyonce, I'm open to.
Yes.
Maybe you could change my mind.
Yes.
But
I
I'm
hope
gonna
so.
I'm gonna probably say you won't because she's an amazing performer. She's Beyonce.
Oh, there's no doubt.
But
She
I
is
think
Beyonce.
Lady Gaga's more iconic than Beyonce. Sorry. And people don't say that Lady Gaga is the most iconic queen in the world.
Lady Gaga, she's the most iconic queen in the world. Not necessarily dissing Lady Gaga because I love her, but yeah, people just want to be known for something so bad. People just want to get that social media clickbait that they'll say things that like you're not making any sense. They're trying to be contrarian and stuff to kind of like, I don't know if it's like a self-esteem thing, but let's be objective here. Beyonce's objectively she gets the hype that she deserves. Now, you can say that you don't like the type of music that she makes, and that's fine. You can say that it's not, your favorite thing to listen to, that's fine. But to say that she's overrated, that's like an objective. You're just not being objectively true. You're not being real with yourself.
Right.
I want to see the person that said it. I'm sorry, I can't help but I'm a visual person. I'm a visual learner, some would say. And so for me, I'm like, well, what's the skin tone giving?
Oh,
what
you want to see it?
It's giving
right.
Because for me, and this is nothing outside of, my own personal skin tone, but I just feel like certain groups definitely take on that type of narrative for clickbait.
Yeah.
It's giving me clickbait. It's giving like, those who are not African-American, Black, whatever so you call it, are really going to tap into that because this is a Black icon. This is a Black legend. And then you add a woman on top of all of that. I just instantly go to you trying to get some attention. You trying to get some clickbait. You trying to get some views. You trying to get some followers. Because honestly, obviously we all know, and I think we all, even the person who said that for me, this is what I go to, in general, really do respect that Beyonce's a legend. Beyonce's a queen. She has been doing this. Whether we're going to reference the documentary or whether we're going to reference Bills, Destiny Child, OG me, you know?
Right.
She's an icon. So for me, it's always just giving me like, oh, okay, we trying to get some social media campaigns rolling. Some social media manager came in and said, hey,
And
I
they
think you
did.
should say this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know exactly who that was.
Yeah, I know exactly. I can see their faces.
No, they
and everything.
got the attention they wanted.
Okay,
Yeah.
see?
And it kind of gives like, okay, let me just say this to elicit that black rage.
See?
You know?
Yes.
It's like, it's so easy. It's so simple. And it works every single time.
It do.
But-
It really do.
Yeah, and I feel like at this point though, it feels a little anti-black because I feel like we don't have a plethora of Beyoncés because Beyonce is like a 1 in a million story. You have a black woman who literally came up, you know, her family sacrificed a lot of what they had in order to like pour into her. And, you know, a Lady Gaga, she can come along. All she has to have is, you know, some je ne sais quoi, talent and luck. But Beyonce, that's like a manifestation of like sacrifice and, you know, to get to where it is that she's at.
Yeah.
So well said, friend. I agree with that 100%.
And I feel really bad for extremely talented people because they make it look easy.
Yeah.
And people always want to downplay how talented they actually really are and how, because that's just what it is people don't realize how easy she makes it look. So they don't, like, I remember, I don't know what athlete it was, but he said that he was saying that he went to the same gym as Beyonce. And so she was running on a treadmill and she was singing. And he was asking her, like, why do you do that? She was like, because it helps my lungs. So when I'm performing, I can keep, you know, going and stuff. And he said he tried to do it. He's like, it was the hardest thing ever. And like actual athletes, professional athletes are saying what she does is hard to be able to do. And then regular people
Emphasis.
are like, it's overrated. She's overrated. I'm like, no, there's something wrong with you. There's a link missing. Yeah.
Well, it sounded like a very baseless statement anyway, because it was like, well, you probably don't even tune into her
Right.
to even give a real opinion. Because you had nothing to say she was overrated about. You didn't even she didn't even follow up with I hated that album or that song. Couldn't give anything.
Yeah.
So it's like you just talking. You have never even tuned in to really even say. The girl's like, watch Homecoming. She still was sounding like, well, what's that?
Exactly.
Like,
and it's so reckless because I mean, I could sit up here and say, okay, well, Taylor Swift is overrated, but I'm not tapped into the Taylor Swift brand. Like I wouldn't do that. It's reckless. It's just talking out the crack of my behind.
But she could have said, you know, I've never ever felt the need to tune into her or what she does, and that would have been fair. Like, okay, because of your race, you may not identify with that. Lady Gaga might be more your speed. But to just be like, oh, flat out overrated, no. She's good. She was like, she's good. Oh, you have not seen this woman on stage, obviously.
Exactly.
Even the reference, though, is a joke. Like, even Lady Gaga loves and knows that is the blueprint behind it all. I'm like, oh my
Anybody
God.
you compare Beyonce to is going to be like, no.
No. They're like, stop. Just stop. Stop right there. Don't do that.
I can't even do 10% of what she does. Please stop.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to do what she does.
Exactly. So how do y'all feel about Beyonce dipping her toe into house music? I know it kind of came from left field. A lot of people were like, oh, is she piggybacking off of Drake? What were you guys' initial reaction knowing that she was going to do house dance?
I didn't think she was doing it. I felt like Drake, having worked on her album, jumped in front of her. And I think he knew, and I love Drake down. I think he knew that album was good, but he didn't have the vocal performance to pull it off. He needed some features. But I think he jumped ahead of her. He knew it was coming. Being a DJ and like being out in the scene, I wasn't surprised at all because house is making its rounds. So it was like Beyonce is just right on time. Her team definitely, anything they thought of or came together to inspire this, like they were already locked in on the streets.
Yeah.
I thought she was right on time.
And see, for me, and this is what I love about Beyonce, and this is what I feel like we all kind of love, she really created like around her artistry, an element of surprise. And so honestly, I've been a Beehive member, and I want to address this because I've been a Beehive member since Beyonce Live in Wembley. Okay, let's correct that a bit. Not the Beyonce experience. Beyonce Live in Wembley, she was coming down, you know, from the ceiling. Go ahead and landing on the couch, oh baby boy. And so Beyonce has really done an amazing job with creating an element of surprise, even as a true Beehive member, a true fan. And so I was excited when I heard Break My Soul, because I'm like, oh, is this the sound that we're going with the album? But I was still shocked at how really house, driven this album was, how much of that house sound it had, especially coming from Chicago. I see a lot of Chicago house music in this album. I hear a lot of it. And I'm like, oh, yes. And so I was really shocked. I really was, but I was excited and I was grateful for it. And I agree with you 100%. When Drake did it, I felt like honestly it was a slap in the face. And Drake, I'm sorry. You my boy, light skin gang gonna sit together. But Drake, honestly, I felt like it was a little shade in that. I was excited to see him at her birthday party, so maybe they figured it all out. And maybe he warmed up our palate a bit, for that type of sound to come from our people again. But overall, I was also like, I kind of felt like he dampened it. I felt like he kind of took away. If I just heard Beyonce without Drake, because, some people think that Drake can be our mainstream. So, some people don't really be rocking with them. They feel like when they do it, it's a gimmick. It's like, we know what's hot right now. We're going to do this sound real quick. And I feel like with Beyonce, she really did purposely do this sound to kind of, show, hey, this is where we came from. This is a sound that is within our culture. This is how I'm going to properly show my respects. And this is what it could be today. But I was excited all around for B, of course, rolling out the house music to the question at hand.
For some reason, I think that he did warm up our palates to it. I think a lot of people weren't used to seeing a mainstream artist like that have a full house dance sort of album. And I don't know if people would have been as open to Beyonce's if Drake didn't do that first. And I just always feel like they have a very little sister, big bro, or big sis, little bro sort of dynamic to them. They frequently work together. And he wrote Heated, or he was one of the writers on Heated. So for some reason, I think that she was kind of aware of the fact that he was going to drop, and he kind of did warm up our palates to it. Because even with Drake, first listen, I'm not gonna lie, I was talking shit. I was like, Drake, what is this? And then I had to listen to it in the right element, and I was like, oh, this is fire. This is a perfect album for the summer. And then Beyonce followed it up, and it was just took me away. I was just like, I couldn't even.
I'm sorry. Beyonce followed it up, just still don't sound right to me. I'm like, if we were going to do it right, let the queen usher in that sound, and then Drake, you follow, and then whoever else is going to follow. I just don't think that Drake should have been at the forefront of that, and I feel like it showed. I feel like he rushed out something because he knew the sound that she was going to give. He knew I done made these tracks and these songs, and then, they're good songs. I actually really do love the album, Drake. So this is not me really going in on you personally, Drake. You my boy. But I do feel like if we didn't hear that, it wouldn't have took people as long as it really did, honestly speaking, to get on the Renaissance wave. Because I know people who don't, particularly like that music. They all were like, that's what your mainstream artists are doing. Drake just did it, not Beyonce doing it. They don't really care. They're just trying to get some sales. And so when I really think in Beyonce case, I don't know about you, Drake, but in Beyonce case, I really felt like she was doing it for the artistry.
I'm gonna be real though, most of the great legends that have long-lasting careers at some point in the 15 to 20 mark, they do a house song. They do something like that. Celine Dion did it. Whitney Houston did it. So to me, I feel like they kind of just was following the pattern of a lot of greats that just come out with that type of sound, because I think it's so deep, rooted into Black culture that when you really study music and that's your job, eventually you're going to really, see the value in that sort of sound. So I think I love Beyonce, but I do think we're giving her a little bit too much credit when it comes to, even Rihanna had a lot of house-ish type of music. Rihanna was doing it in the 2010s and stuff. I think we're giving her a little too much credit for this genre of music coming into the mainstream. I don't think that she's the first one to kind of usher in this sound. I think we're just the way she blended in Afro beats and pop was something that we never heard before. But just the house element on its own, this is something a lot of Black artists do at some point in their career.
I don't feel like the album is super house though.
Yeah.
She mixed so many different, they did such a good job at just blending so many different genres. And this is from someone who plays it from top to bottom and watches it. It doesn't all give me house. There's nothing house about Church Girl to me.
Or Virgo's Groove.
Or Virgo's Groove. Virgo's Groove gives me a little Donna Summer.
Okay.
Virgo's
true.
groove
Yeah,
does.
Summer
Give me a little
Renaissance is a
summer.
little Donna.
I feel every time that
Yeah.
song comes on, I feel like glitter and sparkle.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's a perfect blend of
Just a little
pop,
everything.
R&B, Afrobeat, and house.
She did a good
She did
job.
everything. I don't think Drake tapped into like all those genres in his album. I think his sounds way more like a house album.
He gave me like two like more international house vibes too.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Euro
And
house
That's where
a little bit.
that's the first thing he did was go out of the country to go play his album too. He ain't played that album here yet. He went out of the
Yeah.
country and was like, they gonna love this. What is it, Ibiza? How you say it?
Yeah, Ibiza.
That was the first place he went. Like, okay, we know who you made this for. 'Cause
Yeah.
he used to travel.
He
And
coulda
so he
kept
knew.
it.
The
He
fact
coulda
that
kept
he
it.
just
He
he
kept it.
always is changing his sound makes me like
Yeah.
forgive him. Like, you know what, Drake always every year
And he
he's
gets away
always
with
doing something
everything.
new.
Yes, and some people hate that about him, but I honestly kind of like it about
I
him.
love it.
I
No,
love it.
it gives like what's high and fresh, like I was saying.
Yeah.
It's giving like I know B is coming out with a house music. Let me do some house music.
But
He's from Toronto, though. You have to
Right.
consider like his
I feel that
culture.
I feel like he
Right.
knew
He has
was
a
coming.
Black American father. He has a mother that's white. I don't know what ethnicity she is. And then he grew up in Toronto, where it's like a melting pot of so many different cultures. It makes sense why he talks the way he does and he does the accents. Because have you heard people from Toronto?
right.
Have y'all
Have, like,
heard the
really-
Toronto accent?
Right.
It's like a mixture of like a Jamaican and like a what's good, shorty? Like, I don't know,
Right,
like,
it's weird.
I don't know what the
It's
accent
weird.
is, but yeah. So I feel like it makes sense why Drake kind of, I don't know. It seems like people of every culture love it when Drake. It's finally their turn, and Drake
Yeah.
does
Right.
something in there because he does it right. He's not gonna miss. He's not gonna make a bad song, you know. So
Yeah.
And him and
You know-
Beyonce move the same in the sense of that because they go out and find what's hot in that time too.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
he introduced me to some UK rappers when he decided
Yes,
he was trying
when
to
he
do
did
their
his drill
sound,
thing.
you know?
Yes.
yeah,
He's
And
a
Beyonce will do
chameleon.
that too. Like, well, let's get the people involved who are already doing this. So I'm actually getting the full experience of what I'm trying to sound like.
he's like, I'm gonna.
I just want to go on record that the Lavelle show did not agree with anything that they said. I stand by what I said. Lord.
I will say this. Sometimes when Drake gets too deep into a certain bag, it's like, all right, Drake.
All
pull
right,
back a
Drake.
little
You
bit.
have fun.
Because he was
The
really acting like he was from
Jamaican
Houston on. I'm like, Drake, okay, now calm down now. But I mean, honestly, we don't really talk about it enough, but Drake is like a pop star too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's super duper mainstream. Like anything he lands on, he makes it mainstream, which can be a good thing or a bad thing, but he's a chameleon, you know what I'm saying?
When it comes to music, I just do not talk bad about Drake or Beyonce. They are just,
Yeah.
they have a soft spot in my heart. I love them.
They're at the top of their game.
Yeah.
Okay, so as of today, it was revealed that Renaissance by Beyonce will not compete in the pop album category at the Grammys, as it was instead submitted to Best Dance / Electronic Album.
Okay.
So she's not even going for the pop. She wants dance
Oh.
and electronic.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is fair.
Club
Okay.
Renaissance. That's dance. Like,
yeah.
that's
I
fair.
do think it's more dance than pop, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like it has some pop elements, but it does not sound like a pop album to
No.
me.
Right.
It's not giving Sasha Fierce.
It's
Right.
not. It's not.
And
Now-
I think when we get like, Nicki Minaj who submit to something, they say, you gonna go here. I respect that. At least she submitted to this. And they said, all right, well, that's where we gonna put you. So,
Yeah.
okay, I'm with that
Yeah.
too.
Now, what's interesting though, a lot of people, myself included, feel that Beyonce has been robbed of pop Grammys and pop accolades. She only has one pop Grammy, and I think that was for the performance of Halo, like best performance for a song. And that was for Halo. But it's like for most of my life, I've witnessed Beyonce be like a pop star with pop songs.
Mhm.
So, the fact that she's not going for that pop Grammy is interesting.
Mhm. I think so too.
Yeah,
It- she gonna have some strategy too, though. I say that. I think
Mhm.
maybe she don't want the pop bag. She knows really what it was and what it is, and she wants to roll it out how she think it should, even in terms of Grammy nominations and awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta stand.
I think
Yeah.
it has to do with probability too. In the pop category, you're competing with way more
Harry
people.
Styles, probably.
And with men, like I feel like there's more pop male artists too to be competing with. So I think that in the dance category, I feel like she has way less competition in that category versus the other ones.
Yeah.
And I think too, Beyonce's voice is so rich that you forget that you're listening to a pop song when you're listening to her. There's something that sounds very R&B about her voice, even when she's singing a super pop song. And that doesn't mean it's right to rob her of, the success that she's had in that category. But I can always understand why. Because it took me a minute to realize like, oh no, she makes pop music. She makes pop music. But I always just R&B. I just always heard R&B in her voice because
Yeah.
of the way she sounds.
And now the other side of that too is I feel like pop can be categorized in two ways. So it's the pop sounding music, but also an artist who is just extremely popular. Like you're a pop artist because your music is everywhere. So I think that's kind of how I view Beyonce as a pop artist because she's so mainstream and she's just everywhere all the time.
Same. Even down to like what you said though, I would agree with that because even if you put Beyonce on a song with Lady Gaga, as we mentioned earlier on Telephone, Beyonce just give that, a little more culture to me that really do kind of not feel as much as, Lady Gaga who does pop.
Yeah.
So I can agree with that one too, 100%.
Yeah. I think there's certain artists that kind of bend genre. Like, for example, Ariana Grande. Like, I feel like she gets to go back and forth and be considered both R&B and pop whenever she likes.
Yeah.
So it kind of like, I think race does play a part when it comes to the soulfulness that we hear in Beyonce's voice and wanting to categorize that as R&B because Ariana Grande sounds super soulful, but she gets to thrive in the pop category all the time. So
that's true. That's facts.
Because I would still be shocked if Ariana Grande were on the R&B category. I'm sorry, for me, like I would still be like, that girl was still a pop star. Like, I don't know about that one, y'all.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I mean, her music has so many elements of R&B though.
It
It's
really
like,
do.
she really sounds more like R&B than pop these days.
Yeah.
When you listen to her whole bodies of work, for sure.
Okay, so back to Beyonce though. So when you guys first heard Renaissance, what was your reaction and what are your 3 favorite songs from the album?
Heated, Alien Superstar, and I think Virgo's Groove. Yeah, Heated, Alien Superstar, Virgo. Those are my top 3. Ooh, but then there's Cuff It, and then there's Energy. Can we do the top 5?
Oh, we can do top 5?
Yeah, that's my top 5. I just said my top 5. But I think my reaction, I was scared to listen to it at first because we hadn't heard a Beyonce album. Like when it's just Beyonce, she gave us The Gift, so we heard her there. But we had the Carter album with her man, you know what I'm saying? But we didn't get just Beyonce in a minute since Lemonade. It's 2016. So I was actually really scared because I don't know, albums have not been hitting me, the way the way they used to. 2016 was just like a golden year. And I feel like after that, they were very far in between, Yeah. But once I heard it, once I heard Alien Superstar, I had to pause it like, Beyonce.
Let it soak all in, yeah.
I had to be like, run it back. I had to start it over. And then I did that with so many songs on the album. I was just so happy. I was like texting everybody like, no, you're not ready. You're not ready. Like this is, you're not ready for this. So yeah, I was super excited.
I'm guilty of getting to Cuff It and I stopped and I played Cuff It about 10 times when I first. I didn't even realize Energy was there. I kept running it back. Like I would see it going to the end. I'm like, hold on, go back. I love to Cuff It.
Okay.
And I'm thankful partially that I don't use TikTok like I should right now because I feel like they would run Cuff It to the ground. But I'm happy for its success. But that was my first favorite song. And then when I heard Energy, I went off. The Energy, Cuff It, Energy, and Heated were my first favorites. But when I went to go listen to the album, I was nervous because I was not a fan of Break My Soul.
Okay, fair.
I was not a fan. I was quiet though. Because I was like, I don't know if this is gonna, she doesn't pick good singles to me.
Okay.
There's been rarely that I thought Beyonce's single that led her album in a long time. Like, I think the last time I loved her first single was Deja Vu. Okay. I was not a big fan of Single Lady, so
and that's a very unpopular opinion.
But I never disliked the albums. It was just always the single for me would just be like fall flat. Run the World Girls, like what are we doing? She was introducing stuff.
Yeah.
So that I didn't let that stop me from wanting to hear it, but I was nervous. I'm like, okay, you didn't get me. You didn't just get me fully, and I had already bought a box and vinyl, so I was a little scared. I'm like, I bought it before I heard a song, and then you drop Break My Soul, and now I'm like, I'm not in love with this, so I'm scared. But I remember playing it after my set and like just Cuff It went a few rounds, and then finally I let it play. I was like, this is something else. This is special. And I'm like, this is so different. Like it was just nothing I could ever dream I would expect from her. And I loved it from the first time I heard it.
Same.
I was Okay, so we know it leaked, right?
Yeah.
And so when it
I
leaked,
didn't do the leak.
I didn't do the leak neither. And I had some people in my team like, I know you want this. Let me send you this right now. I'm like, no, I cannot listen to this. Like, I really couldn't. And then I decided, all right, Lavelle, you love B. This is great content. Let's do a reaction video. And so I was doing a reaction video. Y'all, my camera died. I couldn't even make it past Cuff It. I was just like, pause, wait. Because as soon as you get into the intro track, I am like, wait, we about to go there. We about to really take it. I love Break My Soul. I really thought that was a great rollout, even hearing the album, because I felt like it really set, that's how you set somebody palate for what you about to serve them.
Yeah.
I felt like Break My Soul really did that. And so when I was hearing the album, it really was blending so much to me that I wasn't even capable of understanding what was a different track. Like Confident to Energy, I literally was like almost at, it went into Break My Soul, and I was like, wait a minute, is that like, I don't remember that being the track list. I was like, wait. So the transitions in the beginning, my first listen was the star of the show. I just felt like I have never heard something that was just a completely flawless body of work like that. You press play and you can just, the joke is like, this is the clean the house tune for us.
Yeah.
It's because you press play and it's no stopping. It's like, I don't want to skip none. I want to hear exactly how she made this out to be. And that was my first reaction. When I first heard the song, and I feel like my same 3 tracks, are still the same. I love Alien Superstar. I love Cuff It, and I love Heat It. Those are my girls. I just gotta ride with those. And then the honorable mention gotta be the one that I feel like is a 2-for-1. So Plastic on the Sofa into Virgo's Groove. That's one song. I ain't trying to hear what nobody is saying. That is a little intro track into Virgo's Groove, because Virgo's Groove is a star. And so those would be my honorable mention order.
No, I feel that.
And I definitely think Break My Soul was the perfect single.
100%.
Only because I feel like once you listen to the whole album, you're like, wow. Because what I hate is when the single is the best song on the album. And so when you listen to the album, you just feel disappointed because you're just like, okay, even the songs could be good, but it just wasn't as good as a single. You know? So there's so many other songs that are better than Break My Soul that I was just like, okay, she really gave us a taste. Like, I knew what to expect, but I did not know like I was going to expect all that. Like, I didn't know she was going to, So I'm kind of happy that she made Break My Soul.
Even the tone of Break My Soul.
But to be fair though, once I hear energy in the Break My Soul,
it's different. It hits different.
They're like, nah, don't jump on the train.
No, it hits different.
She made that. Like, I get hyped to hear Break My Soul now. And I'm like, maybe she should just drop Cuff It, Energy, and Break My Soul
all together.
Let the girls talk. But especially the OG energy, the la 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 da.
That's the one I play.
Yeah, that's the one I play.
That's the one I play.
I got a CD in my car.
The OG.
That's hilarious. Now, I'm with you with Break My Soul, Rose. Because when I first heard it, I was like, let me just shut up till the album comes. Like, I didn't react to it at all because I was like, I don't really know. And I was scared like you, Timmy. I'm like, okay, like, if Beyonce doesn't do well, people are going to eat this up. And I don't want to have to eat this up. I want to enjoy it. But when I first listened to the album, when it got to Church Girl, I was like, okay, hold on. hold on. Like, it was really, really good. Yeah. So honestly, my top 3 are America Has a Problem.
Ooh. Come on.
Yes. Plastic Off the Sofa and Virgo's Groove are kind of tied for me.
We're going to say that's one track.
That's one track.
We're giving that the one
track.
I really love Summer Renaissance and That Girl. Those are the standout ones for me. But I feel like the entire album is a work of art. Like every time I listen to it, I'm like, damn, like it keeps getting better and better.
Yes. It was like she put something in it.
People say that great intro too.
Yes. And people keep saying that she's going back and like changing things. So we're always gonna be like, I've never heard that part before. But going back to your point about the way she mixed it, I really feel like we have to credit The Dream for that.
Yeah.
Because we don't give enough credit to the producers. Because his Love vs. Money album was the first time I ever heard an album where the songs bleed into each other and then you could just press play and it bleeds. And I know he produces songs for her all the time, writes songs for her all the time. So shout out to The Dream.
Yes, shout out to The Dream.
We see each other.
Because The Dream was tweeting leading up to the album, like, y'all ain't ready. I just never seen someone so excited. So I'm just following his Twitter, like, what am I not ready for? Please tell me, because Break My Soul, I'm waiting. You know, And like the day of, he tweeted something just to the effect of like, this was a dream to make. And like, I just cannot thank Beyonce enough. And just me loving the dream. This has been what the dream has been about for a long time, but you just don't hear it when it comes to his hits. But if you go back and you listen to like Electric Red's album, very dance, and that was his like chance to shape something and form something. And that's what he decided to do with a girl group.
Right.
So I'm like, I bet this is like your moment because you've been wanting to do this since the beginning of your career. You go into like The Love, his first debut album, and he has like the one that sounds very like Prince. And I can't think of the name of the song right now. No, not Walk on the Moon. It's about
you're talking about his first album.
First album. I can't think of the title right now. I don't know why it escapes me. But it's still like if you just see traces of what he's done on this Renaissance album throughout his whole career. And I think that is so cool.
Yeah. And you know what? I think The Dream is like one of those geniuses that we don't talk about because he always finds a great melody. Like he's not the most out there artist. Man. He's not the most stylish. You know, he be putting his stuff on, but you know,
he got a lot of baby mama.
Music, right? But his music carries him because he can always find that melody. You know what I'm saying? Him, Don Toliver, Ty Dolla $ign, like they just have that they just have that gift to find that good melody.
Yeah. To this day, to this day, I always say Love vs. Money is one of the best R&B albums ever today. And it's just so underrated. Like, that's what underrated means. That's what it means to be underrated. You know what I'm saying?
She's talking to Twitter.
No, I absolutely love that. Okay, so now we have to talk about all of the dialogue that came with Renaissance. The memes, the tweets. Speaking of The Dream, he had the school, you know, Miss Whoop-de-Whoop on sampling and things like that. Like, have you guys dove into any of that discourse? Did you have to set
all of it
straight? Like,
piece of it.
What has that been like? And what is, well, let me run back. So we had the tweets, we had the memes, we had the dialogue about sampling and things of that nature. What has been your reaction to all of the culture outside of just the music?
Because I am an OG Beehive member, I'm very used to this. Like, Beyonce from the jump has gotten backlash. Beyonce from the jump has had hate. So it was nothing new to me. Honestly, I was really shocked at how quickly things turned around. I felt like in the beginning there was like a good amount of hate. You know, it was like, what is this sound? What is this? So when everybody got into it as quickly as they did, I was kind of like, oh, great. All right. We ain't got to really go on the forefront like we always do. But really, I was really excited to see us also kind of, how would I say it? You know, open our ears a bit more as Black people. That's what I'm gonna say, as a culture in general. Because this sound, you know, it take a few listens if you're not a Beyonce member, if you're not a House, you know, fan, if you know. And so that was the part for me that I was like telling everybody, let it warm up, sit down a bit, really take that listen, really put the ear to the beats and the songs and the melodies is all I was doing on the front. I felt like with the sampling and all of that drama around it, that has been a part of our music. Like, and a lot of times I love that Beyonce puts at the forefront certain conversations like sampling, like we've been doing that, y'all. Let's be honest. And so for me, it was a good mixture. I was 50-50. I was excited that people were actually taking the chance to listen to the music and listen to the work. And I was also excited on educating people, as I've always done, as a Beyonce fan and her work of art.
Sorry.
Those pauses.
I spent more. I did see The Dream's feedback on who was that said she had 27 writers. It was like 27 writers.
I don't want to butcher her name. She's a famous Diane Warren.
She she was like 27 writers, something like that. I've never heard of such a thing. And he was like, flag on the play, because you're not about to come for what we just did. And he did say her share. I saw that, but outside of that, everything else I saw was like positive. Maybe my timeline, because I've done a Twitch stream of all Beyonce with Beyonce Legion. We came together, did one. And so I have a lot of the hype. So it was, I got to see all the good things.
Timeline.
Like, I know. They're talking about the stacking of the vocals and the layers. So it was it was a positive experience for me. I didn't have to go in on nobody because everybody understood. It was fine. But the memes, because of the Club Renaissance party that I've done, the memes I get sent all the time. That one where Lala's holding up the phone, she's holding up.
Love that.
Girl, somebody sent that. They came to the club and did. I'm like, we playing it. We good. And she's like, I just had to do it. But I feel like I see more memes than anything. They're all good. Like, there's crack in this album because I'm still listening to it, or just a really good positive rollout. That's why I kept my comments on Break My Soul, and I waited. I'm like, let's wait till the album, girl. You don't get in here and start nothing, and you don't know what the album sound like. And I'm glad I kept it to myself because I would have ate my words later.
Yeah, no, I definitely, the best part is the memes to me. I love being on Twitter. I love it when like nobody puts hashtag Beyonce or Renaissance, but they tweet something and we know it's about Renaissance. So I'm like, girl, I don't know what she put in this, but I just can't stop. And then all the Beehive is retweeting it. It's like, it was so vague, but everyone knew it was about Renaissance. Like, that's how tapped in we are. And like, it's so crazy because it really feel like we're a hive. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really in a hive because we're all connected. I feel like the way we defend her is just hilarious. Like the memes, that's the only reason why I have not been too pressed about visuals, is because it forced us to be so creative. People were pulling out like just the most random dance videos and then putting like the Beyonce song audios on top of it. And it's just so funny to see the creativity that's come from it. I think it really has sparked up a new renaissance of creativity that, you know, we've had. It's going to be a different way that we interact with albums now. Going forward, I can see this being a thing when there's a new album. It's just like just a range of memes and stuff that, you know, just to support the album. And as far as the whole sampling thing, hip hop and R&B, its roots is in sampling. Like sampling old tracks has been from the very beginning of hip hop and R&B. So it's like, how out of touch can you be?
Well, you gotta remember, we got a new wave of kids on the internet now too.
Yeah.
And they grew up on the internet. They didn't grow up getting to look at album booklets like we did. Or
That's true.
So it is like, I feel like, because I'm a little bit older, always feel like I'm teaching. It's always like not a teaching moment, but I always present things in a way where it's just like, this came out in the 70s and now we have it now. Like, just to blend it so you don't feel like somebody's always attacking you or talking at you. But you can see how this has been going on forever.
Right.
And I also feel like, I also feel like people, like, we are so privileged because we grew up in a time where things like, I love the 80s, I love the 70s. We were so tapped into the culture that came before us. We didn't have like iPods and stuff. Like whatever our parents was playing in the car, we was all listening to. Whatever the music that was playing on when we were cleaning the house, we were all listening to. Now kids, like, they don't ever have to explore outside of the music that's currently in their genre. So we hear samples immediately when we listen to music. We can immediately pick out a sample, where at them, this is really their first time hearing this track. So they don't really understand how many songs are actually sampled.
And then also, I feel like it was such an important conversation to have, and I'm glad that Beyonce was the one who could make that conversation happen. You know what I mean?
How do y'all feel about the Khalees thing? We
can talk about the Khalees thing.
I want to hear your opinion really bad.
Well, honestly, I understand where Khalees is coming from. I did a deep dive on Khalees and how she didn't have ownership of her masters. And that whole story. So I could see how that could still be a sore spot for her because she doesn't own the first two albums, the masters for the first two albums that she did. And those albums were amazing. So I could see where she's coming from. You know, I could also kind of see how it could be taken as like she's doing the most, because it's like, if you don't own your masters, how mad can you be? But also as an artist, I could understand getting emotional about that, you know?
I love Khalees, and I understood like I felt like it was a trigger for her, just something else that someone else gets to approve on my behalf. And like, you know, because I do know you could have said something, but I also felt like, I just felt like she placed it on Beyonce's hands a little too heavy, because I'm like, at the end of the day, the producer threw that in. And also, you need to attack Pharrell, because stop using me. I know we made Magic, stop using me. And I thought Beyonce did the right thing by just taking her off, and people thought it was shady, but I'm like, no, that's actually literally what Khalees wanted. She may have went about it the wrong way, but like, you also just lost your husband, you're on tour, and you're listening to the internet. That was how she got the news. Because you noticed when she came back after hearing the song, she was kind of like, y'all act like y'all acting like I had a verse on this.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. She probably barely heard herself.
Yeah.
But I just felt like she probably went about it just too quickly. And so it just felt like an attack on everything. She was just going every which way she could. But I was glad Beyonce just went ahead and was like, you know what? Just as a woman and you don't have ownership of something over your own voice, like I respect that, I'll take it off. But I also understood where the turmoil of like Solange unfollowing her and stuff, because you was attacking my sister and you was
she was talking to she
misdirected anger.
Yeah, she was she was for sure like throwing a little bit of shade in there. Mm-hmm. And I'm just always gonna be like, I'm never gonna understand why people want to go toe to toe with Beyonce, even in the slightest, only because she hates the drama so much that she would for sure handle it behind the scenes with you. Like she doesn't even want her name in any sort of drama like that. Like she doesn't want the publicity that comes from it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oftentimes I feel like it's a very quick emotional response that people do, and they actually haven't gone through the channels to have the conversation with her. Right. But I feel like she's a really graceful person. I always hear her praises being sung in the industry. So I'm like, stop going on the internet to call out Beyonce.
That's how the internet do, though, because they was tagging her like, this song is featuring Khalees. I could only imagine if I woke up and saw that, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, did nobody call me and add me as a feature?
Yeah.
I really hate it because, honestly, and I get both ends, like I get Khalees 100%. Like I just could only imagine, as you said, like not owning the rights to it has to be a trigger point. You know you made some great stuff. Beyonce putting you on the album, you know Pharrell is probably some part of it, and he didn't,
getting the coin
and getting the coin, but not really, bringing you along for that journey. And then too, I understand for Beyonce, like when Beyonce has these level of projects now, especially because they still leaking and still doing what they doing, she really trying to keep it tight. You can't go and, tell everybody, and you hope that different teams who should be doing that is doing it. I hate that it happened because I really feel like we lost some magic from that album. And I know it's such a tiny part, but something about that harmony on that da 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 da. I'm telling you, that really takes Big Freedia intro into Break My Soul to another level. And so that's what makes me sad about it. I heard that part without it in the club that day. I was like, ooh, okay.
But tell me Renaissance has not made you want to go back into buying actual CDs again. Yes. Because now seeing that artists can so easily go in and change different elements of songs, not only like investment wise, if you ever want to resell it in the future, it's going to be worth a lot of coins, but it made me want to be like, I'm going to start physically buying albums again. I want the box. I got a box,
So you got the original?
Yes, I got the original.
iTunes and mine haven't changed still to this day. So
you downloaded it? It definitely made me want to start doing that again. Like, you know what? There's a place for CDs still in the modern world.
Imagine how much that's gonna go for when you be like, I have the Renaissance.
Right. There's gonna be some scratches around Heated and Cuff It. There's gonna be a little scratches since I'm pushing that repeat a lot, but still.
No, I love that. Okay, so predictions for Act 2 and 3. So far, all we have is the Tiffany's commercial. Okay. We have some merch.
If she don't get Tiffany out my face.
Please, Lord have mercy.
I'm so tired of Tiffany.
Right. That's the one thing Beyonce is like, girl,
y'all gonna get.
I'm happy you get your bag, but girl.
We got the merch. We got, the pictures. We got a couple of TikToks, but that's all we have. So what are your predictions for Act 2 and 3 of this thing, because Act 1 is Renaissance.
Right.
Who knows if Act 2 will be another extension of Renaissance, or if it'll be like the videos. Like, what do y'all think is coming next?
I have a strong opinion on this. I do not feel like Beyonce is giving us 3 albums. That is the biggest thing I feel like everybody think. They think Act 1 is Renaissance, Act 2 is another album, Act 3. To the point where they put genres around the next album that's rolling out. Right. For me, I don't think that's that for 2 reasons. I can't see Beyonce giving it to us honestly like that, because I don't feel like, kind of back what we were saying, I don't think Renaissance was just a house music. I feel like it was a complete body of work. So for her to go on this rollout of, I'm gonna give y'all different genres that we haven't, went into, or different genres in general, I can't see. But 2, I don't want Beyonce to do 3-act albums, because that means game over. I don't know if people realize that. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 is game over. It's done. Curtains are closed. Beyonce, do not close the curtains. No, we don't want that. I think And I truly believe Act 1 is the album, Act 2 is the visuals, Act 3 is the tour. That's what she's the queen of, all those things. I'm gonna give you good music, I'm gonna give you good visuals, and baby, don't even come close when it comes to me live. And that's my predictions. I'm standing very strong on that. And when this roll out, exactly how Lavelle has said it, I'm rolling back this clip where I'm looking at this camera right here and I say Act 1 was the album, Act 2 was the visual, Act 3 was the live tour.
Okay, so I have 2 that are likely to happen and 1 that's a wild card, but I'm like, the Beehive is they gonna know what I'm talking about, so I'm gonna say that one for last. Okay, so the first one, Beyonce already knows documentaries are her bag. She knows how to make a documentary. She did it with Life is But a Dream. She did it with Homecoming. She is going to make some sort of docu-series, some sort of documentary. She still has her deal with Netflix that like she has to create, I think, 4 projects with them, and she's only done 1. So, and she's supposed to go create like 3 or 4. So I definitely think we're gonna get a Renaissance one. I said that it's probably gonna be something like a mini series or a limited series, and each episode is gonna be the documentary of how that video came to be. And at the very end, we see the video.
Especially because she has that Netflix contract.
Exactly. So we see the video, you know what I'm saying? So I can see that being one. Also, the concerts, of course. She's going to do the stadium tour. And I feel like that's when we're going to see the first glimpses of the visuals while she's performing. I think that's when we're going to see them, and then they're going to release when the tour is over. And then the last thing that people just underestimate, Beyonce is a really good painter. She knows how to paint really well. That's like her one talent that she like keeps to herself. A lot of people don't know that. But if you are like a true Beyonce stan, you watch Life is But a Dream. Her dad talks about it a couple of times, that he talked about it a couple of times. She might do an art show, an actual art exhibit. And she might like tour it around the country. She probably had one in New York, DC, LA. But I'm sure she has a plethora of paintings that she hasn't released yet. And I can see that being the last, or something in there. So
you had some creative spunk.
Really wild card, but
oh my God, I want a Beyonce panel.
Just you see how like
the price is right on that one. I already know that.
Okay. I actually have the same theory as you, so I feel like Act 2 would probably be videos, visuals. I don't know if I would say she's going to make Act 3 the tour, but I do know about the Netflix deal, and I feel like she's going to give us a documentary for sure. That's her thing. But a documentary, and then I don't know. I'm like, I feel like she might just play games because she don't mind doing that and be like, oh yeah, here's the On the Run. Act 3 is like this, a few things y'all been asking for, and y'all, I like just that Formation been real quiet about DVD. Yeah, that DVD. So I think she's gonna I think it's gonna be more just a platform type thing for the next 2 acts. But I know the tour is coming, and I don't know, because she could just drop an album. She did the Carters just right before tour. Because I was like, why are you and Jay-Z touring again? And then she was like, this is why.
Right.
We have an album. Here you guys go. I'm like, oh, you sold.
Right.
But yeah, I feel more Act 2 is going to be visual. I don't think she has 3 albums to give
That's overkill.
But she was in quarantine. Like,
yeah, true.
And
who knows what magic they made during that time?
I know.
Yeah. And I'm always in amazement with artists who can churn out as much content as they do. Like, there are a few artists that I can think of that like are constantly putting out good projects. And I'm like, that takes a lot of creative energy. Like, I wouldn't even want Beyonce to go through all that, putting out 2 other albums. But I honestly do feel like Act 2 might be the visuals, and then Act 3 will be the tour. But you bring up a good point about the documentary, because if the rumor is true that she scrapped the visuals for the first time, I would love to see that behind the scenes footage of like, okay, we shot this, we didn't like it, so we're reshooting it. Like that would eat. I would be here for that.
Show the real process.
But when do you guys think we'll get Act 2?
Oh, now that
when do you think we'll get the
I'm
visuals?
over trying to guess.
Is Lavelle camera on? Is Lavelle camera on? Because let me say this. Beyonce, Giselle, Carter, Knowles. I don't care what the visuals are. It can be on Netflix. It can be on YouTube. It can be on Instagram, TikTok. Just give us the visuals. And whether it's Act 2 or not, I don't really care. Just give us the visuals, Beyonce. We need them. We want them. The people are acting a fool without those visuals. Come on and drop them. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah. I think she's going to have Solange probably direct her visuals or play a huge part in her visuals. Because I feel like when I think of Renaissance and just Everything, it just seems like her bag in terms of creativity.
Yeah.
And she was directing the thing with the New York Ballet, right? She just got done. So maybe like she was waiting for Solange to, be done. But I think that I can see a lot of Solange inspired.
That's a good one, friend. I would love for her to reshoot some things because Solange had a little opinion about some stuff.
I always feel like they do such a good job, or Solange especially does such a good job as keeping themselves like two separate entities.
Right.
Like, yes, we know you're sisters,
Yeah.
but they don't do a lot of blending.
They don't.
Not a lot of loud blending.
Yeah,
like,
they don't.
To say
In your
Solange
face.
directed my video, I'm like, but we know Solange has been in the studio, or
Yeah, but I think that's the reason why is because, and that's the reason why I think that her and Rihanna have a very, very separated. Like, you've never seen a song with them. They're very separate because I don't know if they were too close together, they would have been able to both survive at the same time. I feel like the industry would have forced us to pick one. And so I think Beyonce knows when to distance herself from another artist, even if it's her sister, because like it's for both of our careers to be able to survive. But I feel like Solange is moving into a more creative direction sort of space. And that's why I can see them collaborating more.
Maybe time has passed enough too, where they are separate.
Like
Solange, Solange. She's not Beyonce's sister.
Because now you have a whole genre of people who are just like, no, I like Solange, but I'm more Solange. I'm not a Beyonce. I'm a Solange. I feel like people are very much so comfortable identifying with Solange. Like Solange has an identity now, a look, her genre, her bag. So I think now it's safe for them to come together.
I like that prediction too, friend.
That would be fun though. I actually
I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
No, for real. Me personally, I feel like the visuals might come. Like, I really think she might drop something near Thanksgiving when everybody's just in the house. Nothing to do. You just looking at your family members in the face, like you just ready for. I think she might drop it right before Thanksgiving. But we'll see.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
I think
her bag
December too.
That's her bag. Like Beyonce did Life is But a Dream. I've watched so many Thanksgivings, like vividly. Beyonce was on our screen because she was rolling out who knows what, but that is her thing too. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I might be. I'll wait till Thanksgiving.
What if she drops it as a surprise on the anniversary of Self-Titled?
That's what I was thinking because I was like, she dropped Self-Titled in December, and I remember it like it was yesterday.
That would be fun.
That would be crazy.
Let's just say everything, and then when whatever happens, then we act
right.
Cut to that
Did we miss any?
Right. Well, actually, what if she?
What if she goes to space?
Right. What if she actually tap in with the aliens? But okay, guys, this was great. We'll see if these predictions come true. I know that whatever she has in store for us is gonna eat. Like, she's gonna knock us over the head and it's gonna be good. But where can people find you all on social media?
For sure. Again, I'm The Lavelle Show. So that's TheLavelleshow on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. What else she say? Scruff. I ain't gonna say. But you can find me everywhere there.
I am Rose God on Instagram, but God is GAWD, not GOD. And DJ Rose God on Twitch. And Twitter, I am Her Selections, because at one point Twitter took away my Twitter for my mashups. So there is Rose God is there, but I forget to use it now. They gave it back to me. But Her Selections, if you are looking for me on Twitter.
And my Instagram handle is It's Timida, ITSTIMIDUHH. I'm on TikTok and Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter, but that's for me to be a regular person. Like, I'm not trying to be no influencer on Twitter. So, yes.
Thank you guys so much for joining me here at the Culture Unfiltered Roundup. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.